Hello, and welcome to the Bus
Bus
Factor. Live from the Bus Factor studio in the office today, we have a guest, one you may recognize. He's been on the show before.
Hello, everyone.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
So my name's Michael. That's about as much information as I'm going to give out.
Here we are. The camera angle looks different today. It doesn't show in the road. Yeah. Oh, we do need to reset the counter. You're right. Let's reset that counter. The camera angle is different because we camera hard and all that stuff. In fact, we're running on the old camera, I think, with the worst video quality because we had problems with the last camera. We don't have a sweet hardware setup. But you can donate to us on Patreon if you want to see our hardware setup get better. So, how are we today, Mr. Michael?
I'm not too bad, Stephen. And how about you?
I'm okay. I haven't been out for long. Before we get started on the let's start with the important part, and then we'll go to the less important parts. The important part is how many buses do we think are going to run a red light?
Well, I'd say it's got to be a good 20%, right?
20% of buses?
Yeah.
That seems crazy.
I've seen this intersection. I ride the bus every day.
Yeah, there is a law. I'd be surprised if it was 20%.
15%, 10%. I want to know
5%?
your historical stats. As you can tell, I'm super well prepared for this.
We don't have so we don't count the normal buses that go through. So we don't actually have that information.
Right. You don't know what portion of the buses are bad.
But so as a sneak preview, we do have a dedicated team working full time on a revolutionary software project we have a turner coming through while there's walkers as well.
Ooh.
So let's hope someone gets hit.
A turner?
Patricia,
Oh, they come around that corner so quick.
Yeah, and people don't look because
No,
people
absolutely.
do not realize. So we have a software project that will allow us to run stats like this, so we can use it to count the number of buses that go past and count the number of red light runners. So we can work out those stats. The project is still being worked on, but this project is going to revolutionize the bus factor industry. Thousands of people around the world will.
This is really tense, Stephen. I've never really just kind of sat here and just looked at this intersection.
Oh yeah. It's
I mean, people changing lanes right in the middle of the intersection.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
going so fast.
They do. My favorite, I see. It's not the fast parts I like. It's the slow
that guy's
parts.
got LED spinners.
Oh shit, he does. Can we see that on the?
That was cool.
I don't think we saw it on the camera, but
Damn.
he definitely
You'll
did.
have to take
have
our
LED
word for it.
spinners.
That dude was flash. If he'd been going like twice as fast, that would have been some like Tron light cycle.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it would have been
Yeah.
like a trailing. That
Yeah,
would've been
instead
cool,
of just like blinking red, green, blue LEDs.
Yeah. Okay, let's bring the chat up as well. So I reckon we're gonna have 5 buses run red lights today. I'm going low. I'm lowballing it. I reckon 5 buses.
Excuse me, Stephen.
No problem. And yes, we do need to wash the windows and dust the windows and all that stuff. How many?
There's actually a fully grown plant in your guttering out there. Like several fully grown plants. That's pretty good.
So that happens a lot in Wellington.
Those guys are thriving.
You can't see them on the camera, but yes, we have at our apartment at home. Actually, we have like an entire ecosystem. We like the birds come and forage from the gutter plants because the gutter plants like grow and they're almost like vines growing across over the gutters, but they're not. It's a bit weird.
A microcosm.
Yes, yeah, because it's not massive ecosystem, but it does contain birds, forages, plants. We just need like a carnivore lurking in the grass, and it'll be complete.
Pretty cool. What do you guys think of the new city council sign across the other side of the intersection? Can you see that in the video? I don't know.
You talking about the one by the McDonald's?
Yeah, the one by the McDonald's.
Been there for a long time now.
Like 6 months or something, right?
Yeah. Can we see that? Behind the chair? No, we can't actually see it today. So this is slightly to the right of the camera. We have seen obviously long-time listeners will know that there is a McDonald's there. There's a sign there.
Have you noticed any kind of observable change on the the pedestrian traffic flow now that the signs are around for them?
Not observable. I tend to think most of the people coming past here, especially 5 to 6, not tourists.
That's true. They've got a place to be. They know where
Yeah,
they're going. Yeah.
they're walking. I mean, that's part of why it's so busy here, because everyone's just like, I want to get through. That being
Yeah.
said, people do tend to hang around in that area in front of the McDonald's. So, but I don't know if any of them like look at the sign. I don't know what's on the sign. I walk past that every day, and I don't know what's on it.
So I guess you'd say it's maybe not that effective.
What's the purpose of it? Like,
Well, it tells you how to get to places.
maybe it's effective, like because I don't need to know how to get to places.
I
so
suppose that's true. Yeah.
we don't have like a good way to judge. How do you even measure that? I don't know.
You
if
probably
can.
put up like a camera system and you like watch the area around the sign.
I don't know if that would tell you though, because it'll just tell you how many people are looking. It doesn't tell you how many people are lost and have their problems solved because of that. What you really need to do, I think, is measure other ways people are retrieving information. For example, hits to the website for maps, and see if that number decreases.
Yeah, I suppose that works. Or just get like a dude to snipe them with RFID as they go past the sign, make them easier to track or whatever.
Yeah, you could do that. You know,
Like those RFID spikes that I linked you to last night. You could just
Yes.
push one of those into a person. And
I thought, what are those made for? What size are they? Who knows? These are like, they looked not super pleasant, to be
they're
honest.
like RFID golf tees. If anyone knows what the purpose of RFID golf tees are, just let us know in the chat. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, was it a red light runner? I fucking not on it today.
We're just having so much fun here on the Bus Factor that
Yeah.
we're not even paying attention to the buses.
you gotta help me out, because we're gonna make sure we get all the red light runners.
Like, I'm going to be honest with you, Stephen. I've lost all capacity for rational thought this week. So
Well, to be honest, watching buses go through a red light isn't particularly rational thought. You know, Plato sitting back there in the ancient days, he's philosophizing about red light runners. I don't think so. He would have chilled out on his weekend after a hard week of working and been like, I'm gonna watch the chariots go past the guards who are like, stop.
oh, we got traffic backing up. The people
Dude.
crossing the road are almost touching.
Not
No, they got
backing up
away.
enough
No,
though.
they got away.
We did
Got
have
away.
one backed up before that actually like just stopped before the thing. See, a lot of people going through this intersection don't understand the lights, so they
It is a
go halfway
complicated
through.
intersection, yeah.
Yeah, they go halfway through and they get to this pedestrian crossing in front of us, and then they stop. And then like a bus tries to go, and they don't go because they think they're not allowed to go. And it's like, you're sitting in the middle of the intersection. It's better to go. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
just get out of the way. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to run anyone over.
Yeah, just literally look. Am I going to run someone over? No. Fuck it. Get out of the intersection.
That's like the number one rule of driving. Don't let your car touch anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Like if you can get that one down, you can pretty much deal with an automobile.
Yeah. You could break the law, but yes, you're dealing with the majority of problems. I once was driving to work and I spun out. It was very weird. It was like wet, and I was driving and I was like going up to a roundabout, and a car was just randomly stopped, just like outside of the roundabout. And I was like, what is the car? Like, this is a like kind of highway-ish, you know, like 80K zone. So you go to a roundabout and carry on. I was like, why is there a car stopped in the middle of the road in an 80K zone? That's not super safe. I was like, whatever.
That's probably a bad idea.
So I went around the roundabout and just managed to spin out crazily. It was just the weirdest sensation of being like, whoa, my car is spinning. What's going on? And it felt like it went for ages. And eventually, like, I put on the brake because I didn't know it before then. Before that, I was just like, whoa, weird. And braked.
Yeah. I mean, if you were an Uber driver, that's probably 2-star review there.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. You know what I did today? I went to go get in an Uber. So I walked up to him. I opened the door. Just as I opened the door, he accelerated to leave. And I was like, oh, shit. Sorry, man. I didn't see you. And he was like slamming on his brakes. And he's like, oh. And then I got in. And he just was like, thought it was cancelled. I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, the app. Yeah, I thought it was cancelled. I was like, oh, okay. That's weird. Why were you trying to leave me?
Did you still give him a good review?
Yes, because I forgot. Because when I got out of the Uber, I was like in a rush for a meeting, and then when I was leaving the meeting, I was just tapping and
Yeah, that's how they get you.
yeah, it's like tough because he clearly didn't see me, and the thing is like, what could I have done different? I don't know. Like maybe walked in front of him and been like, "Hey, buddy."
Yeah, well, you're supposed to shuffle your feet and like call out periodically to let them know that you're around, right? Like so you don't step on them. You like make a lot of noise with your feet, kind of shuffle them through the grass and stuff.
Is that a thing? What does that work on?
You know, stonefish, Uber drivers, snakes, that kind of thing.
Oh, is that okay? I didn't actually know that. Yeah, I thought
If you're in an
Okay, that
area
makes
with a lot of
sense.
rays, you might want to shuffle your feet through the sand so you're not putting one straight down on a ray and surprising it.
Oh, real as well? Wow, I did not know
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
I thought rays would just not give a shit.
Oh, I mean, they're pretty chill, but
Yeah. Not like jellyfish. Jellyfish will just fuck you up.
yeah, they'll just go straight for you. You know, jellyfish within like multiple kilometers. It sees you there.
Home
Just,
in.
yep, blam,
Yeah.
straight in there. They have a lot of control over where they're going, and they move real fast. So
Bloop. Bloop. I remember going to beaches as a kid and seeing like thousands of jellyfish washed up on the beach and just being like, I'm gonna die. Why are we at this beach? I'm gonna die. There are clearly too many jellyfish here. Ugh.
yeah, have you seen the stuff that's been happening the last few years where the jellyfish are like turning our oceans into their oceans? They're like slowly taking over planet Earth and
I
making
feel
it.
like I heard something about this, but I feel like you might be paraphrasing some other news story, possibly. What are they
Look,
actually doing?
all I'm saying is that they're turning up in mass numbers and they're jamming the cooling systems of nuclear reactors. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Are they actually doing that?
Yeah, there's great photos. There's like guys who work at nuclear reactors standing around looking really unhappy with pitchforks and giant buckets full of jellyfish.
Why don't they have like a filter on it? Like
They
what?
do have a filter, but the filter fills up. Some poor person has to go and clear all the jellies out of that filter.
Why don't they just like blow the jellyfish away?
Or you put like a giant cruel jellyfish macerator on the thing or something. Like chew them up into a jelly.
jelly. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
Look,
I would just blow them away. Like filter fills up, just blow back heaps, and then
Look,
go away.
I'm no nuclear power plant engineer, Stephen, but
It does sound like a solvable problem to me, though. Though that being said, when I have tried to solve problems in the past involving computers, it normally doesn't turn out well. So.
well, yeah. Name one thing about computers that did turn out well.
You could argue that easy access to pornography. You know,
That's true. I mean, that's been a pretty big driver for technology over the last few decades. So,
yeah, like a
makes
lot of the
sense.
big technologies, new internet, a lot of the formats we have.
Yeah, higher
Interestingly-
bandwidths, bug bounties, you know, all
Yeah.
of that stuff.
Yeah, though interestingly, like if you think about YouTube, actually, I think somewhat took over because Google's a technology company. They get to develop new codecs, so they've driven like a lot of the codec development in the last 5 years. I would say,
Right. Yeah.
rather
Do-
than the porn sites.
You see the news from I think it was this week or last week. ISPs complaining that gamers had been ruining the network performance when a more rational analysis sort of suggests that maybe it's Netflix.
It was yeah. So I believe that was the NBN people in Australia.
Yeah, I think it was in Australia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I mean that just tells you they're retarded. You know, like they're like it's insane. That was the country where we had one of the Minister for Communications say, "Oh, we don't need new internet because I upgrade my router every few years and it just kind of solves everything." So I think we're good.
Yeah, I think they were probably being disingenuous at best to say that people gaming or
Yeah, yeah.
we're making the NBN slow.
Yeah, it's such a weird group to pick on. It makes sense from a choose someone to blame who can't really fight back because what a gamer's going to do.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that gamers as a demographic really exists at this point. Like you look at kids and teenagers and young people, and they're pretty much all quote unquote gamers at this point.
Yeah, but so those kind of people, if someone's like gamers are running the internet, I think they would be like, huh? Man, whatever. I don't think that applies to me.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean also from, a technical perspective, what's going to use more bandwidth on your network? Streaming real-time HD video or streaming some positional updates for
yeah,
a computer game character? Like,
yeah. It's
one of those is
weird
in
one to-
kilobits per second, and
Yeah.
one of those isn't.
Yeah, well, it depends if you're watching like the fucking shitty.
Yeah, I guess.
240p
Yeah, if you're in
YouTube.
Australia, you're probably watching 240p YouTube. But
yeah. Yeah, I guess like a lot of when it comes to the NBN, they have a history of lying and just kind of getting away with it. Not exactly getting away with it. People call them out, but there's no consequences for lying. Like, what's the consequence of blaming gamers? There's no downsides, and the upside is now that someone out there thinks, "Oh, okay, that explains it. I've got someone to blame
Yeah.
now."
pretty much. I mean, it's one of the evergreen problems with computing, right? Is that you can tell a person literally anything about a
Yeah.
computer system, and there's no way for them to disprove it.
Yeah. No, it's pretty messed up.
You
Slightly-
shouldn't Google, Stephen. Don't look up Google on Google. You'll break the internet.
I like the recursion one. On a similar vein, quite unrelated actually, but it just made me think of like
Good segue.
users and stuff. Don't you love the way that if you sent out an email to a government department and just said, because we do phishing. We do phishing for a lot of people. Sometimes
Well, you
government
don't want to
departments.
be admitting that in public. Surely that's going to reduce the effectiveness of your phishing campaign, Stephen.
Oh, surely then now the jig is up. They'll know now. We do some somewhat complicated phishing campaigns depending on everything. Oh, look at these guys. We're going to red lights.
Oh yeah, I haven't been looking at the buses. Like 60% of what we're doing here.
It is.
It's a pretty full crossing. There's a lot of people going across. What do you think's the largest group you've ever seen go across in one go?
So we have had like tour group isn't the right word, like work groups and that kind of thing that have
Right.
50 people that all try and shuffle across at once. I would say that's the biggest.
How many people do you think it would take crossing the road before the pedestrians could take control?
Two people, right? If two people stand in the middle of the road, the cars are just like, well, fuck. They can't. Their options are like kill a dude or like hurt him or give up control, right? I'd say two. That being said, you definitely want to make sure the cars are stopped first. I think there was a red light runner. I'm pretty sure there was a red light runner.
Can we get the action replay?
Can't because I'm too late. I'll start this, and this gives us our live replay.
Oh yeah, the old 15-second lag view. Yep.
Yes, that's because that is how do you know how our replay works, our instant replay?
No, tell me how it works.
Okay, so if we go here, you might be able to see. Click replay. Do you see what that is? That is the Twitch loading screen.
It's the Twitch screen.
Yeah, so we just embed the Twitch viewer, and that's it. Okay, yeah, I did think there was a red light runner. We're going to bump that up. I said 5. You didn't pick how many buses you thought were going to go past. Red light runners.
Seems like Inner there confirming the red run.
Yep. But how many red light runners do you think we're going to have? You've got an advantage. You've seen that we've had 1 in 20 minutes.
Oh, it's a tricky question, Stephen. I'm
You
going
don't
to
know if
say
it's a linear or exponential.
I'm going to say
growth.
6.
6. Okay.
Yep,
One more than
6 red light runs with a plus or minus 3 margin of error.
I don't know if we accept plus or minus 3 margin of errors here. Look at that. Look at that bus. Look at, what is he doing? Do you see what he's up to? No. Who knows what he's up to? Oh, we are definitely going to have one this slide cycle, right? Right?
Yeah, there's
right?
no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Straight through.
easy.
Yeah,
2.
yeah.
2.
Whoa.
Possibly 3. Just 2. Fucking look at that.
Man, that last one was blatant.
Yeah, that was
They just went
crazy.
like
But what was that front bus up to?
the Mana bus.
The very front one that was just going really slowly.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
So the very one, it was 7. Did you say? Oh, 7. How many do you think? Okay. There was 2. We add 2 on, so we got to 3.
Are you looking forward to the new bus livery, Stephen? Are you excited about having that rolled out?
When are they doing it?
They've started now. Like we've had a couple of lime and yellow ones coming through.
Okay. Yes. No. That one. Yeah. I thought there was some new ones above that. Yeah. It was a bit nauseating to begin with. I did not like it.
Yeah, I was a bit uncomfortable as well, but it's hard to tell if it's like legitimately bad or just different. I think my favorite bus livery is still the like Go Bus yellow, like the big like proper Wellington yellow bus. That's the real classic for me.
Yeah. The thing is, so every city that I've been in tends to have a different color for their buses. They tend to be vibrant, bright. When I came here from Hamilton, which used green, I was just like, the buses look completely wrong. They look ridiculous.
Yeah, there goes a really nice like Metlink on our way, but it's still yellow. I've only like so I've noticed that they've partially reskinned a bunch of the buses, so there's still like some Valley Flyers floating around in the what I think they call the licorice all sort color scheme. They're like purple and orange.
Yeah, look at that! Look at that! That's not only so is he blocking? I believe he'll be blocking 1 lane of traffic as well.
Yeah, they're blocking everything.
What?
Whoa!
What?
That is a full house.
1,
right
2,
there.
and that guy was blatant. That was not subtle.
Oh man! And now they're stuck because they've got pedestrians.
They won't wait for long. Okay, we didn't bump that up by 2 again.
Yep, there we go. And he's going. Yep,
Yeah,
clearing it out.
Which the problem is he's blocking. Oh no, he managed to get through mainly because mainly, yeah. Okay, bump that up by 2
Is this
again.
peak bus? I mean, what time's peak time?
We don't normally. Yeah, this is pretty much peak time. The entire hour is peak time, but this is we don't normally get them bunched up this close together. We did have one time where we had one bus running a red light every like 13 minutes or something for 3 cycles. So I was like at 13 past, at 26 past, and something above that. That was pretty good. But we don't normally get it quite like this. Maybe it's just backed up for some reason. Also, the electric bus, which I think we have seen here.
The electric bus.
The electric bus. You know what pisses me off so bad? the fact that they're like, oh, Wellington's rolling out electric buses, it's going to be so great. Can you believe how forward thinking we are running out electric buses? And I'm like, we had those already. We had them.
Yeah, we literally did have electric buses
you
already.
can't. Oh, whoa! Fucking look!
Whoa, it's happening again.
What even is going on here?
Our estimates were so off.
Is there maybe there's something happening up there? Maybe there's like a that bus like went to go and just like had to stop from all the pedestrians. Maybe there's like roadworks or crashed or something, and it's back in the map.
Yeah, that's true. It's quite possible. You need to do like a live cross to someone who's out there who's like got the word on the street.
Yeah.
It is really frustrating because not only did we have electric buses, but we had like citywide distribution system for powering them. So
Yep. And they all. Whoa! Is that a second bus? Did I just miss? Yeah, that's another one on
another one.
Where did that one come from?
We're just blowing through the targets tonight.
What the?
Just blowing
We're
through
to have
them.
you more on the show more often. Where did that bus even come from? Damn.
You have like a Bitcoin ka-ching sound every time you increment the number.
Oh, we should.
You really should. You should
Yeah.
have like one of those like Twitch streamer graphics where coins fly all over the screen.
Yeah. Damn, this is just a
Did
crazy
you know you can
world.
get custom coins made by Chinese companies? You could get the Bus Factor coin made.
I have like a dog poop coin somewhere. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's pretty similar. It's kind of similar idea.
I presume you have one of these somewhere. Oh, Jesus. Fumbling coins. It's not a euphemism. That was another one, right? That was fucking another one. Yeah, fucking. Let me just double check on the live replay. Yellow. Oh, he.
I mean, the tail was going through.
The tail was over the line. I'm inclined to count it. We're not reporting it.
Yeah, let's do a half. Can we do a half?
Yeah, we can do a half.
Yeah, let's do a half increment.
Advantages of not having you here, we can fucking just.
A 0.25. Yeah. No,
0.25, you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was just the tail bit.
Yeah.
7.25.
Just the backy bit of the bus. Yep.
Yeah, was mostly through. It was almost entirely through. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly through. I mean, we'll be generous. Give them a quarter.
Yep. And the thing is, like, do you know Hugh? The last few times we've been doing it, literally writes down every incident and sends them an email summary of every red light run for the time.
Hugh is a very conscientious citizen.
I would not use the word conscientious citizen to describe Hugh.
He has our best interests at heart.
Maybe he genuinely cares about some things that other people don't.
Yeah,
I'll say
and
that.
his very particular interests.
Yes, like slight amounts of gravel on a road. That was my favorite one. Okay, should we crack into some? We talked about computers, I guess a bit. Oh yeah, I wanted to say we'll crack into some news after this, but with a lot of the people we're fishing, we do complicated things. We could just send out an email that said, "Please give me your password," and it was just a link to a form that said, "Your password, please."
Yeah, I mean, even probably if you linked it to Google Docs, which has that big "Do not put your password in here" field.
Oh yeah. You
just
could
like county password inspector, give us your password, please. Yeah.
It's so it's so ridiculous. Doing the access card stuff recently. Also, it's like when you first learn about lockpicking for the first time, and you're like, "Hang on, people can just pick these."
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like Sharo described when you first learn about computer security. It's like you're the dude who discovered microbes. Like it's like, holy shit, germ theory of disease. I can't touch anything anymore. Everything is filthy.
That's pretty much what it's like. Yeah, you're like, it's
how does society function?
Yeah,
with these little crawly things everywhere.
Yeah, computers are pretty bad. I don't know. It's unsolvable as well at the moment, which is unfortunate, I guess.
Yeah, I love if folks listening to the podcast haven't seen Peter Gutman's slide deck on unsolvable security problems. I think what's the phrase that he uses? Like it's like pernicious problems or something like that. If you search on Google for like Peter Gutman unsolvable computer problems,
fucking yes!
What did I miss?
Sneaky bus. He went through a red light. That's what you missed. Route number 7. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice PDF slide deck of like some, essentially provably unsolvable problems. It's a really good read. I definitely recommend it.
Someone was like, "Oh, if I wanted to hear Hugh bashing, I'd go listen to Silvio." No, we're not bashing him. He's good.
I don't mind Hugh.
He's good. I do the podcast with him. Can't find him too bad. Yeah, he's good. But he is on honeymoon, which means we get to be mean to him.
Didn't he get married a really long time ago?
Not a really long time ago, 6 months or something.
Wow. Okay, I felt like it was longer than that.
He's known her for longer, I guess, and been dating her and living with her, I think.
That's disgusting.
I know, right?
These people who waits to get married.
Oh, wait, hang on. You thought I was going to say living together before marriage. It's fucking blasphemous.
No, these days it's all about the married at first sight. Have you not seen reality television?
I have.
That's the social norm, Stephen. The social norm is you meet someone on television for the first time and you get married.
Get married. It's so ridiculous how distorted it is with that kind of show normalizing getting married early. Not that I really care about it. Like, sure,
Yeah,
if someone wants to do that, go
Stephen
ahead.
and I are getting married after the podcast, so
We have seen each other now. We have locked eyes for a while, so interacted with
they
each other
say
for a
that
while.
being on the Bus Factor is, approximately as good as being on reality TV. So
I feel like that's an insult. I'm not sure though. Okay, let's crack into some news, shall we? So,
we'll do the computer news.
yeah, did you know that fluoride has been linked to acne? Which really is the least concerning thing I could read. Really, fluoride linked to acne. I'd be like, okay, well, keeping teeth okay, so maybe that's worth it.
Yeah, that's probably a health trade-off. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's really not that bad, especially given like I don't have bad acne, so it can't be that strong of a link.
Yeah.
We got old conspiracy magazine here, Nexus, the alternative news magazine. War is good for business. That one's actually true.
Yeah, I mean, there's a nugget of truth at the center of any good conspiracy, Stephen.
Yeah. What's the negative truth at lizard people?
Anti-Semitism.
That's the
it's
negative truth.
It's a thing that literally exists. Like
Okay.
lizard people's just anti-Semitism.
Whoa. Okay. So you see, we
There
had
was a horn. There was a horn. What did they miss?
because a bunch of cars were backed. Oh, whoa! What is this? Is he?
He's just stopped.
That's
in the
not.
intersection.
That is not appropriate behavior.
What
Number
if
3,
people-
Corey
What if people
Park.
wanted to cross the road?
They can't now.
That's rude.
People do want to cross the road,
Yeah,
right?
they're stacking up. That guy always going for it. He's
He's
just like
walking around.
straight out there. Is he wearing headphones as well?
Yeah,
That's brave.
I don't like wearing headphones while walking around. I don't mind it really late at night when.
Yeah, well, certainly not crossing the road. I mean, one of the big
Yeah.
cues that you're about to be killed is the sound of an approaching vehicle. Although I guess the time of that's kind of coming to an end as well with electric cars. The silent killer, they call them.
Is that what they call them? I did hear it was a problem for for deaf or blind people or something like that.
I think just
Blind
in
people,
general.
I guess.
So actually, the current Nissan Leaf line, the fully electric cars, they're quite popular in
Yeah.
Wellington. They actually have a kind of like courtesy noise that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
generate with a speaker. But the very first model of Leaf that was on the market here has an option to turn that noise off.
yeah,
It's like the assassin mode in the Leaf.
good for sneaking up on
But
motherfuckers.
yeah, I think regulators were pretty unhappy with them for putting that in there. So the later ones, you have to leave that on. But
I mean, like I
if
like
you can get one of
cold
those
quiet
first gen
cars.
Nissan Leaves and you need to kill someone and they're within like 80 kilometers of where you are right now, bam.
Oh, because of the range.
Yeah, the first gen ones, they don't go so far. but-
Why 80 kilometers? I thought it had like a,
Well,
like
no,
a target seeking
Further, if you stop and take a break, eat a muffin, charge up for 6 or 7 hours, you could go further.
Yeah, so electric cars have some problems, don't they?
Don't get me wrong. I think electric cars are the future. They're infinitely
yeah,
better.
definitely, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
even the current gen Leaf is like twice as good on range or something like that,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have the killing feature. So
I like the killing feature because, like, sometimes you just want to be quieter, right?
yeah, well, that's why they put the button in. It's like the politeness button.
Yeah.
You're driving through a crowded movie theater. You don't want to upset people.
Just, slight hum. What's that humming? I don't know, man. Ignore it. Watch the movie. Okay. We do have some news. It's been a long time coming.
Computer news.
The big story of the week, in my opinion, is the Intel floating point. I listen exclusively to traffic sounds while walking around.
That's practically as bad as when you're driving and a rap song comes on the radio that has like police sirens in the background.
Oh, that's the worst. Like, I hate it. I do think it should be illegal. So I don't mind the songs so much aren't so bad. The
Well,
adverts get me.
If you're gonna censor an ad so that you can't have the swears in it, I
Yeah.
think it's pretty reasonable to say maybe don't have the sound of like an approaching ambulance.
Yes, yeah. Because I freak out when not that I drive often, but when I do, if I hear like a emergency vehicle, I'm like, what do I do? You know, I just I
Yeah,
can't
well, that's
handle it.
right. I mean, it's one of those situations where you're close to violating the cardinal rule. Don't touch anything with your car while you're driving.
Yeah, and you see people like at intersections like trying to squeeze up onto curbs and stuff, and they're like, "Don't touch anything, don't touch anything."
Yeah, it's driving rule number 1.
Do you know? Actually, I found out I may be wrong here, but I'm going to share it anyway because I'm going to pretend like I know. It's still illegal to go through a red light, even if there's a emergency vehicle behind you. Strictly speaking, there's no like if you contested it, you'd probably get away with it. But the law doesn't have a thing being like, and if it's an emergency, you can go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess that's it's one of the advantages of having a legal system like ours.
Yeah, where a judge can just be like, no.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that would be more problematic in places like, I think, some parts of Europe where, they have a mandate to interpret laws more literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is straying well into territory that I know nothing about. So
It sounds like you have more knowledge than me. Oh, fucking yeah. Fucking Valley Flyer. Oh, fucking gee.
Whoa,
See that shit?
that is brazen. That was
fucking
3 in a row,
What?
just straight.
That's ridiculous.
through. Man, our guesses were so far off.
Why is there so many tonight? That's fucking crazy. Hey, 1911?
Yeah, I'd say at least 11.
That's damn.
11 and a quarter buses.
What is even going on tonight?
At what point does the kill screen kick in?
The kill screen?
Like the maximum level that you can get to before the
yeah.
bus factor
We
glitches out. And
We
can't
haven't
go
got to
any
that
further.
yet. I
Right.
believe that's one civilian death.
Oh yeah.
One civilian death
Let's,
just ticks it over.
Yeah. Let's moving on.
Okay, the big news of the week: the Intel floating fucking FPP. What does it say? again?
FP fail, I think, was the
is that
trendy
the-
name. Yeah, or fail FP or slow FP.
I feel like that came after the bug, though.
No,
like-
maybe it's not FP fail. It was like drop FP or
It's not
FP.
It's got an F and a P in there. We got
yeah,
that
yeah,
part.
it's a
Floating
floating point
point.
issue. Yeah, and it's funny because when you Google Linux FP bug, you find so many.
Yeah, it's not just one, is it? It's actually one of the first levels on Smash the Stack is to like trigger a floating point problem. So this one I didn't read. I did not read the technical details of how the bug occurs, but what I did read was the impact. Right? Did you read a little bit?
Yeah, so I mean, it's basically one of these, classic evergreen multiprocessing problems where
Mhm.
your CPU is pretending to do 2 things at once by quickly switching backwards and forwards and kind of leaking some of the state from one to the other.
Yeah.
So basically, it lets like one process get access to the contents of the floating point registers for another process, and that is probably in itself not the end of the world. Except for the fact that internally in the implementations of instructions like AES-NI on x86, they use those registers to hold key material.
Yeah, I believe all the SSE instructions as well, which is where you want to store any kind of like cryptographic stuff. You want to store that in there, right?
Right.
So make it fast.
Yeah, I mean, I only looked at it from the perspective of AES-NI, but
Yeah.
it looks like you might better read, chunks of state out of things. But at the same time, it's also kind of a non-problem because it's been patched for forever and basically anything you're likely to use.
What is it actually? What?
Yeah. Like, so this is a really old bug. Like,
Yeah.
it's been under embargo for almost a year now.
Wow, I did not know
Well,
that.
it's not even like, it's not so much even I think that it's been under embargo. It's just that it's not actually that interesting. So like, we
Yeah.
don't know for sure, but there's been speculation that maybe the bug was dropped kind of July, August last year.
Because the timeline of this, the only reason we know about this is because OpenBSD, Theo
Yeah,
patched
that's
it
right. Theo, he's not
after
under
a
embargo.
year.
Well, okay, so it's quite possible I have my facts wrong on this because
Yeah.
it's been a busy week and I haven't, dug right deep into it, but I've got
Yeah.
a few bits of info on it. So it's fixed as of kernel 4.9, and if you
Mhm.
if you do much with the Linux kernel, 4.9 feels like forever ago. 4.9 is what, 2016, I think. I
Wow.
think actually that's an accidental fix. I think Linux basically fixed it by virtue of an efficiency fix because manipulating those floating point registers, I think, was quite expensive, and so they decided to just stop doing it in most cases.
Yeah.
So Linux is good, Windows is good, OpenBSD is good. Don't know about the impact on other platforms, but it's probably x86, pretty x86 specific, I would imagine. So
Yeah. It
Yeah, I
also
mean-
seemed hard to exploit.
well, no,
like,
I actually don't think it was. So I don't know if you saw Colin Percival's comments on this.
okay, but he said I did. So he tweeted saying that he whipped up a proof of concept in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, 5 hours, I think.
Yeah.
That's not from seeing the actual problem. That's from speculation about the problem from
Yeah.
someone who knew someone who knew someone who was under the embargo.
Yeah, but the problem is to build the proof of concept, sure, but because you're relying on basically you need to grab state at the very specific time when the key material's loaded into a place you can access, right? So you need to be running at the exact same time that say GPG is running with the decrypted
Yeah,
keys,
well, I
contents,
mean,
and registers.
If you're using AES-NI in your CPU, there's a good chance that you're using it for like disk crypto, right? And so you're doing AES operations pretty much continuously.
But isn't like, for example, web browsing, doesn't it use AES-NI as well to do some of the, because AES is used in SSL?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't actually know very much about this from a kind of web perspective.
Yeah.
I certainly don't think. Like, I think it's probably pretty easy to grab something out of the floating point register, but
Yeah,
it's
that
less
was-
clear
That was
whether
my
you can kind of
impression.
mount a practical attack with it.
Yeah. I get cool stuff. I guess it's all in the same kind of basket as the other stuff we've seen recently. Spectre, Meltdown.
Yeah, I mean it's the same like CPU performance for correctness trade-off stuff that has been going on since the early 90s, and everybody suddenly got really excited about.
yeah, it's pretty. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna see change. Someone said, I know some people who race their Gen 2 installs pretty hard, and they were saying like, oh, we're back to like Skylake levels of performance, which they're basically like, oh, all the performance gains we've gained over the last 4 years gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in terms of performance impact from these kind of speculative execution things, I feel like it's really not been as drastic as what people had feared. There
Some
there are certainly
things,
some
like Java, I
workloads,
think,
yeah.
is particularly effective.
Yeah, so I think the worst affected thing I've seen so far. So obviously we've switched on, page table isolation and related countermeasures on several thousand machines now.
Yeah.
And honestly, really only a small portion of them turned out to have workloads that were problematic. I think the worst one is like generating custom Debian repositories. For some reason, the software that we use for that, like the package signing software, takes like 10 times as long to run
wow.
with page table isolation turned on.
Weird.
I mean, the advice that was floating around when the stuff kind of broke 6 months ago, if you run it in strace and it slows right down, it's probably going to go slower with page table isolation turned on, it is pretty much correct.
Yeah.
And-
yeah.
Honestly, unless you're shoveling around lots of small chunks of data or whatever, you're probably not making that many syscalls.
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't noticed anything, and I can imagine.
And
most
it's
people
obviously
don't.
not just about page table isolation. There's a whole lot of, whole world of mitigations for the stuff that I don't super well understand. But
Yeah, I do like the fact that your CPU info now contains a thing being like bugs, CPU bugs.
yeah, that's right. What was it, 4.14, somewhere around there in the Linux kernel, they added that
Yeah.
sysfs thing that actually tells you what's wrong with your processor.
yeah.
That's really helpful.
It's depressing looking at CPU bugs because you're just like, my CPU, it's CPUs. It adds numbers, it divides numbers. Okay, and then you'll just be reading through something one day and it'll be like, oh yeah, if you do a jump instruction in the wrong place, it forgets how to add. It'll just be like, what's 1 + 1? Yeah, 13 million, mate.
Yeah, I mean, there's a great slide deck which I think Peter Gutman linked on the
Hey, Hugh.
iSig list, New Zealand iSig list. We could probably Stephen can probably tweet it out of the Bus Factor account or something later. But
Yep.
it's a really good overview of kind of like how we got into this situation where it's cheaper to build a faster, less accurate CPU that pretends to be a slower, more accurate CPU in terms of kind of the way that hardware life cycles work and the way that chip development works and things like that. It's a really good insight.
This was the I think it was I want to say Haroon Mehr, but I can't remember.
No,
who
it wasn't
was.
Haroon. I think it was yeah, I can't remember who it was either. It might have been Helvar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're right. Yeah,
it was Helvar, I think.
Yeah. And the way when you go to do a project now, it used to be like you would build the chip and the chip could only do one thing, and now you're just like get a general purpose CPU.
Yeah, that's right. It's a reflection of the reason why general purpose computers are so popular and successful everywhere. It's that instead of building a machine out of pulleys and wires to do a particular task, you just build a universal machine and tell it to pretend to be some pulleys and wires.
Yeah. which is a weird situation to be in. But I don't know. It's working out okay. Well, it's
Yeah, is it?
it is what it is.
Instead of building a toaster, we just build a computer and we explain to it how to do toasting.
And then hope that it doesn't also learn how to become part of a Russian botnet.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and blackmail you. Because your
Yeah.
toaster will do that nowadays.
That's right. It's kind of interesting. It's interesting to look at taking modern software development practices and thinking about applying them to safety critical systems and kind of thinking about,
Yeah.
what would you trust more? Do you trust a system that's, I have this kind of hierarchy in my head of the systems that I trust and how much I trust them to do a thing. And like down one end, I've got like, a set of meshing gears with a person who watches it. And then, like some discrete electrical logic, maybe relays if you have to use electronics.
Someone's going to stick their finger in one of those gears, though.
Yeah, well, you can put a cover over it, right? A cover doesn't bit rot. That's the thing that's great about a plastic cover, right? As long as you check the cover,
enough.
you check the cover every 6 months, and if it's not cracked, you're good. It's not like
Yeah.
someone finds a cover exploit which suddenly renders all of the plastic covers that you've put into the world, ineffective.
Yeah. Physical does tend to perform a little bit better. in
Yeah,
terms
so
of safety.
cogs and pulleys, one end, discrete logic. Maybe if you can't do it with discrete logic, maybe it makes sense to have a microcontroller in there. If you're careful and you have no loops, make sure you do that kind of like
You
car
don't
engineering
need
stuff.
networking support. Fuck that.
Yeah,
None of
that's
that.
right. And then way right down the other end is like an ARM V8 chip running a full Linux with BusyBox and all the developer tools and like.
And all it does is turn a light on and off.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but that's the world we're in.
Yeah, it is. We got to. People are going to do it because it's cheapest, right? Like they're churning out those System 1 chips and they're going to put them into things. So I guess that we're really at the point where we can't tell people to go back to ropes and pulleys. We've got to work out how we're going to make those Linux SoCs safer.
Yeah, which I don't know if we're making progress. It doesn't.
I don't know. I mean, there's like I think it's the UK now is doing that.
Fucking yes, 2 of them. Fucking got him.
That was
Route
like
3 and Route 7.
we call that a V formation.
I don't know if we have a name for that.
I think we're calling it a V
A
formation.
V formation when they split off and both
but
run
they
a red
both
light.
run a red light.
Yeah, boy.
A flying V, perhaps.
Flying V.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what like I think it's the UK is doing now, where they're putting a kind of like this device is guaranteed to get updates, and we'll go around to the manufacturer's house and make sure that they're actually doing them. Sticker on stuff.
We talked about that last week, maybe.
You can tell
that failed.
you can tell I listen to the Bus Factor regularly.
Yeah, that one failed. That
did
one
it?
was in the courts, being fought, and they basically said the reason they can't enforce that is it's a judgment that relies on future behavior or something. So it sounded to me, not a lawyer, it sounded like it was a technical problem where they were just like, well, the court can't technically enforce like future behavior and punish based on future behavior or something like that.
Right. So it's like the age rating on video games.
H rating?
The age rating.
Oh yeah, where it's
The old voluntary
yeah.
ESRB. Don't give this to your children because it's got stabbing in it.
Yeah. I do think it's a step in the right direction that it even got to that
Yeah,
point.
I mean, it's really great to see that being discussed. And,
Yeah.
I have reservations about it as a scheme as well, but
Mhm.
maybe it's better than not doing anything. It's a bit
yeah,
hard to say.
yeah, like the current status is pretty bad, so you probably
mean,
want to...
Computers, a lot of the time, I feel like the computer industry today is where the, like, agricultural chemical industry was in the 50s, where
yeah.
they're just like, yeah, I mean, phosphorus is a toxic byproduct of this process, but it's fine because we can just pump it into the sea. And then we were like, oh, actually, that has a cost. And
Yeah.
you probably shouldn't just get away with not paying that cost.
But that's not just the computing industry. That's kind of like life in general, right?
Yeah,
When
I
people
mean,
like-
it's not the first time that we've had an industry spring up out of nowhere, completely ignoring all social and
Yeah.
financial externalities, and then had to maybe come and regulate them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like the carbon tax would be my big example of where companies are just like, we don't want to pay for the carbon we pump into the atmosphere because we can just deal with that later.
Yeah, but that stuff's been pretty effective as well. Like cars today are much more efficient than they were 20, 30 years ago, right?
Because of regulation.
Yeah, exactly. If we had a similar model that meant that computers had to reduce their carbon emissions.
Yeah, no, definitely. We would need to regulate it. We don't have the regulation yet, though.
No, that's right. It doesn't exist.
And
You can sell a computer to someone that does literally anything.
yeah, or literally nothing. Yeah, I don't think it's. I don't feel like it's a easy thing to do at a computer regulation. Like I think about
No,
it.
no, it's really gross stuff because you
Yeah,
know,
not Volkswagen. They got that emission thing
yeah,
down.
the Volkswagen probably the best example of this in recent years. Really low emission scores, particularly under controlled test conditions.
Yes. I was talking to
Yeah.
someone about this recently, and they were like, "Oh, that was a market response," and I'm like, "What? No, people don't want their cars to like lie to them." And I was like, "No, no, people want their cars to be fast and fuel
Yeah,
efficient.
and cheap.
Yeah, that's what they want. They don't give a shit about the emissions." And I was like, kind
I
of.
think that's not. I think that's a misrepresentation. I think if there wasn't a market force for more efficient and more green cars, then they probably wouldn't have happened. Like someone's got to be lobbying government to give a shit about that stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Someone has to.
Yeah.
And I mean, pro regulation with
Yeah,
some stuff. that stuff.
Regulating computers is particularly difficult kind of situation as well because of just how personal a lot of computing tasks are these days and how they really do function as kind of like an extension of a person's body.
Yeah, and you begin to like I store a lot of logs, for example, like chat logs, email logs, that kind of thing. And I begin to it's like a thing your brain does. It's like the same when we first had libraries. You begin to
Yeah, or a
dedicate
pocket
space.
calculator, wristwatch, any of
Yeah.
those kind of technological crutches.
You offload your the cognition to something else, and then you become good at using it. So when libraries came out, people stopped remembering things and just remembered how to look things up in a library.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of these things where it's a lot more complicated. Like, don't put as many pollutants into the atmosphere is a pretty straightforward win.
Yeah,
right?
you can calculate the cost, you can calculate how to do it, and you can say like how much it's going to cost us to do this, to do that. It's
Yeah, that's right. But
Yeah.
when you get into regulating computers, you're really getting into like regulating how people can think
Yeah.
and what they can read and what they can see and how they communicate, and that's way more complicated.
Well, even if you think about must update for 2 years, right? Let's say you enforce that law, and then Meltdown Inspector come out, or something like Meltdown Inspector, and the CPU is affected in this chip, and you
Yeah.
can't patch it. What do you do?
That's right. I mean, you're going to have exceptions, obviously, for that.
Yeah.
And you also have to make sure that you're not, we have this kind of thing in New Zealand, particularly where there's this idea that, someone working away in a garage can change the world, right? And,
Yeah.
that may or may not be true these days, but I think it's still important if you're going to regulate these kind of things, not to build systems where people can't do that kind of innovative and, where people can't have control over their own stuff, basically.
Yeah.
So, you could imagine a scenario where, like, this is a perennial and much trodden debate, right? Where, you have to have a license to sell software, right?
Ugh.
Yeah. So no one wants that either. So
Yeah.
it's a tricky problem.
Yeah.
And one that we are definitively going to solve right here tonight
Here on
on
the Bus Factor.
The Bus Factor.
It's solved. I'd be happy if we can just solve the encryption debate. If we can just get that one knocked out, I'd be happy with that. I'd call it a day.
I think that's good advice. Don't give your secrets to Stephen.
That's good advice. I mean, the good advice is don't give your secrets to anyone. But yes, also me.
I personally experienced giving Stephen secrets, and he lorded it over me for a long time afterwards.
I did. I eventually gave you back a physical copy of the secrets to dispose of.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't get Stephen to be your passport referee. You'll live to regret it.
I do. You haven't regretted it.
No,
I lost my fucking passport.
You you have to notify Interpol about that, right?
Yeah, it's on my to-do list.
You've admitted that in public.
Along with, I'm gonna do it any day now. I'm still looking for it. Along with someone's credit card delivered to my house, and was just like, go out, start spending, PayWave, do it. And I was like, I don't.
Yeah, you know the envelope doesn't block the PayWave, right? You can just.
Well, I also opened the envelope because I was like, envelope open. Whoa, credit card.
So you're admitting to mail fraud as well?
No, I didn't. I wasn't looking.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I just grabbed.
Your cat fell over. Its claw caught on the corner of the envelope. Ripped the top out.
Didn't you have a drinky bird fell off?
Yeah. Hit the enter
license?
key on the Windows 10 Euler. Yeah, it's crazy how that happens.
It happens occasionally.
It's just yeah.
Okay, what else we got here? There was one thing. We've got different news that we're reading from. I realize. I'm reading from. Do you see? There's a news list up there.
Yeah. No, I'm aware of it, but my list just says SS23 sucks in big letters. So.
We have discussed that. Don't share secrets with the
Yeah, that's true. We've got through that. All right.
Yeah.
Onwards. What's on the actual news list?
The good one there, I think, was the YubiKey Web USB debacle.
Okay, that's old news now, though, isn't it? You haven't talked about that yet.
When did it come out? I thought it came out like last night.
Okay, maybe this is a new YubiKey Web USB debacle. You talk about it, and I'll pretend like I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so YubiKey, basically you can fish people via YubiKeys, even though they're meant to be unfishable. So, okay, YubiKeys have multiple different modes, one of which, the one we care about, is called U2F. FIDO is the standards body,
Yep,
U2F.
or WebAuthn or Web Authentication. Or,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. And the idea is that this, the way it works is it kind of, it binds to the SSL stream in such a way that you can be sure of the website you're talking to.
Yeah, so basically the secure processor in the YubiKey establishes essentially a mutually authenticated channel with the web server itself. So your computer and whatnot shouldn't be able to tamper with it. Any man in the middle shouldn't be able to tamper with it, etc.
Yeah. And the thing this protects against multiple things, but the one that phishers care about is that if you go to gmail.evilsite.com and it's like a Gmail login, there's no way the user can possibly enter their YubiKey U2F token on there. It's impossible. The token itself prevents it.
At best, all they can do is let you log into legitimate Gmail, like because the token shouldn't.
Yeah, they can never interfere with it. They can't steal cookies, and so that's a pretty sweet defense. It literally makes the idea is it makes it unfishable. Okay, enter stage left. Web USB.
One of the greatest extensions to the web.
I understand the intent, but I'm preaching to the choir. So why? What? Like, this seems like a bad idea.
So I have a single board computer made by a company in the US. And the officially supported mechanism for you to download firmware onto the single board computer is you go to flasher.theirwebsite.com and it runs an in-browser flasher. And honestly, that has made this particular SBC, it's the chip from NextThingCo. Don't try and buy one because they've gone out of business, but they're not admitting it. You will not get your money back and you will not get a chip.
I've had that happen.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's massively broadened how many people can play with the chip. And they don't use WebUSB. They make you download a Chrome plugin. But with WebUSB, that could equally be WebUSB.
Yeah. I do think there is some advantages of having it. Someone cyberized me, Amon Ra's website where he does the access card cloning. That's done via WebUSB. So the idea is you flash a Proxmark with custom firmware that enables WebUSB, and then you can just go to a website with it plugged to your computer. And for anyone who's
someone just ran in front of the bus.
Oh, real?
It's okay. They were fine. Yep.
Whoa. Yeah, we've definitely had higher scores than this. Back in the day, we used to get 20s. Yeah.
Oh,
this is high for.
Only I could have been here for that.
You were one of the early ones.
That's true.
Yeah. If anyone who's played with Proxmark and firmware and on them, it's just horrible. So it does improve things, but of course, this presents a problem. If you can use WebUSB to talk to the YubiKey, there was a flaw that allowed you to basically. So this was a flaw in not the YubiKey itself, but rather in Chrome and Windows and kind of how those all interact with each other. And it basically allowed you to bypass that phishing protection.
It's interesting because I thought I saw this months ago, but maybe this is different.
3/01/18.
Yeah, so earlier this year.
Oh, okay. Hang on. So there is, I believe, multiple things. Yes. So this was research presented at, I think it was Black Hat, by two people, two old mates. And they presented research that allowed you to do this or something like that. Oh my God. YubiCo. Okay. Fincham is just about to come back. Do you want my case, by the way? Sorry. I'm going to take some time to find this now, since I have time. Security key. Security? Blah. Oh, security advisories. So the research was originally presented, I believe, at Black Hat. And then more recently, wait, hang on, a 302. Oh, wait, no, this was ages ago. June 13th. It's hard to tell based on their thing. Yeah, so February the 16th, some researchers demonstrated how to bypass an origin check using WebUSB at OffensiveCon. Yubico learned of it on February the 27th. They reached out, they demonstrated it. Now, at that time, Yubico started doing their own research, and so that was published on March the 2nd, and that was the same one, a different one, blah, blah, blah. Then they began doing more stuff, and they ended up finding a different bug. So we can explain that to Fincham when he comes back. But it looks like there's multiple different bugs here, some of which were disclosed originally, and some of which were done by YubiKey themselves later. Yeah, no, date formats are hard. The problem is, I also don't know. It's like a CVE. It's like YubiKey CVE 123 or something. And I'm not sure if that's meant to refer to a date or just like an identifier. That looks like a date. 2nd of January, February, March. And that has identifier on it. So it always weirds me out that like private companies feel the need to develop their own CVE format, that they're like, oh, we don't want to just make it a CVE XXX. We actually want to make it or YubiKey is VE 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or anything like that. A bit weird. It's not their own CVE format. It's just they have their own internal identifier for the bug. Hugh was asking if they made their own. Do you know what I mean? Like their own internal identifier, which I guess kind of is fine, but also I'm just like, why not just use the CVE as the internal identifier? You already have an identifier that's like globally unique. I guess it's like a branding thing as well for a lot of companies to be able to say that they have, they have like 20 a year. Look, you can just look at their identifiers. But yeah, I don't know. It's also kind of hard to Google CVEs is another thing. So maybe it was an effort to make it more Googleable. Like if you try Googling CVEs, you'll be like CVE 123, and Google will show up with just completely unrelated CVEs. So maybe it makes sense in that sense. I also realized I gave Fincham my keys, which don't actually let him get back in. Hey, Fincham, my keys don't let you back in. Sorry.
All right.
Okay. So I went over the YubiKey thing. There is multiple different bugs. Like the original one got disclosed, and then they did more research and found another one. And there was also a bunch of like DSA for Debian. I was talking about how they each have their own kind of like CVE-like formats.
Who the Linux distros?
Yubico does.
Oh, every single vendor in existence has their own shitty re-implementation of CVE.
Yeah, but why?
Well, we have Oval, right? So Oval is one of the.
I don't know what Oval is.
It's one of the like universal vulnerability reporting formats, or like universal advisory formats.
Oh, is that the one that's okay? So that's the one that the CVE people use, or different?
So it lets you specify like file names and hashes and stuff like that. So you can be like, I think even package versions. It's got some concept of packages, but it's useless. No one uses it. Like. Officially, Debian publishes a feed of Oval data, but if you actually look at it, it's junk. And yeah, this is one of the big problems that I spend a lot of time on.
Almost, it's fine.
It's one of the problems I spend a lot of time on is getting advisories into a common machine-readable format. And it blows my mind. If I'm spending this much effort on it, what is everyone else doing? They're just ignoring the problem?
Well, okay. Security. Okay, you go to your Debian box. And there's an update to be done. Do the update.
That's true. So yeah, I mean, admittedly, as I work at a company that's a managed service provider, and that's kind of an unusual space to be in, I suppose. And
it's not super unusual, but I do think
well, the number of computers that exist compared to the number of managed services companies, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here we just auto upgrade everything. So, do we need to triage security issues? No, nothing like that. If security bug comes up, we're like, that's funny. Are we patched? Yeah, of course we're patched. How could we not be patched, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it gets more complicated, and you're in an environment with, 200 or 300 customers who all have their own requirements.
And you update something and it takes down this critical website. And I can definitely understand, although, the advantage of having two production environments that are balanced, you do...
for sure. I mean, we have these kind of chicken waving things that we do to try and address these problems.
Yeah. But doesn't that solve the problem almost completely? You have tests that verify that the application works after the upgrade. So... Turn up a clone, do the upgrade, think it works, switch it over.
Yeah, agreed. That's a good way of doing it.
Of course, if you're an MSP and clients like, hey, we have $10 this month, so
or you're in a situation where you have 200 or 300 of these clients, a small team of people and different people you have to contact for each one, different processes, different testing, different test teams.
Yeah.
It gets to be hard work. I think I assume that the big software packages like I think Kaseya and that kind of stuff have functionality for this built in. But
Yeah, I mean, if you think about a lot of infrastructure nowadays, they try and just hide a lot of things from you as well. If you're if you're using an Amazon service, the ELBs, you never know if they're updated. They're constantly being updated because they just run Nginx or something, right?
yeah,
They're
probably
just constantly
HA proxy or
updated, and they're just
something,
like, oh, a bug affects you now that it's updated. Sucks, right?
yeah, you should have engineered it in a more HA fashion. That's the great thing with cloud providers, right? You can just be
Yeah.
crap at it and be like, it's not our problem. You should have done a better job with your application.
Yeah. The AWS has like a specific. Yeah, they're particularly annoying because they're like everything they say is just like make sure it work, like make sure it's distributed over everything. So they kind of have like a fallback.
We're
no
gonna
matter what.
reboot your shit.
Yeah, they're just like we reboot shit all the time. So you kind of have to architect, which is a nice way to.
Yeah, it's
nice
not
to
a bad
have to do it.
system.
Yeah.
The old was it Netflix? I think originally had the Chaos Monkey. Yeah,
Yeah.
that when I first heard about that, it kind of blew my mind. I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's a lesson that we've learned from it's a lesson that we haven't learned from the aerospace industry. Is that your backup your backup process has to be a part of your everyday process as well.
Otherwise it's not.
How do you know it's working?
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't
No,
want to
definitely.
go try turn your generator on. Well, you don't want to try start the spare engine on your airplane while you're already in the sky.
Yeah. You want to make sure that shit's working before you take off, and then you can be.
Use it the whole time. So
Yeah. It weirded me out when I was on a plane once, and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna change fuel tanks." I'm like, "Oh, what?" He's like, "We're just gonna switch to the other fuel tank." I was like, "Oh, okay. Is that a thing planes can do?" Turns out they can. Control
Interesting.
from one to the other. It was weird. It was like a small plane,
Right.
so he flicked it from there to the middle. to the
Yeah,
other
I mean
side.
that's a rope and pulley system, so I don't feel too worried about that, right? Like a ball valve.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
As long as the ball still has a hole in the middle, the petrol's probably still going to go into the plane.
Yeah. And what's the worst that can happen? You just glide down gracefully, right?
Yeah, that's right. Now, if that switch was like a GPIO on a Linux system on
little
chip,
Arduino.
and like,
Yeah.
well, Arduino is probably not even that bad, but imagine like fuel tank D.
Running, and it's running as like pit 0, right? Because system D like consumed that at some point.
Yeah, that's right. System
Yeah.
D, fuel tank D. Press the switch, it runs system CDL fuel tank space switch.
Yeah.
No, sorry, switch space fuel tank.
Fucking, you know what's really oh yeah, fucking that every time. What was so annoying yesterday, and this is a problem with an init script, not actually system D at all. So I was like, oh, my Apache's down. That's weird. I did an upgrade and Apache died. I was like, whatever. It's not a critical system. I know what's gonna happen. So I was like, oh, Apache start. I was like, oh, status crashed, bro. Can't start it. I'm like, oh, status stop. And it's like, okay, we'll stop it. Can't find a PID with that. Sorry, mate. I see the PID's there. It's not running though. So
The old
trying to kill it.
man, the old Unix double fork, right?
yeah.
Like, it's one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, no, it never made sense, and try not to think about how much it's cost society in the last 20 years.
Yeah, that's why we need System D. to solve these
System
problems
D is
for us.
good because the normal case for System D is that a daemon just starts and then
that's
runs.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you want a double fork? What's wrong with you? Like, don't do that. Just start. I'll do that stuff.
Yeah. Okay, we are running near the end of the show. We've, been here
I think
forever.
Hugh's asking questions in the chat, and I can't be bothered answering them.
Okay,
So,
I guess they make a bunch of DSA, kicking them out, tail. Oh, this is the format you talked about.
yeah. So
Okay,
the stuff we talked about at
Yeah.
ISIG is actually different again to this, but it's not much more or less useful.
Same
so.
family of just like it's hard to do this.
Yeah,
right?
it's RDF. So if you're really into exotic languages that are not quite SQL, then you'll be all over it. But
a SQL. This doesn't look like SQL. Yeah. I hate when I'm testing an app and it looks like it's SQL, but it's not SQL, and you're like, it's SQL injection, not SQL injection. Bullshit, man. Okay. You got anything else you want to mention before we go?
well, let me just have a look at my list here. Let's see what we got. Oh, hang on, let's go put my password in.
Boop, boop, boop. The computer is just beeping.
Um,
What computer is that? Tell the viewers.
so tonight's show notes have been read off the Apple Newton eMate 300, a classic at any age.
Cute
but,
little beast.
Yeah, really refreshing kind of alien computer to use in 2018.
It
really
looks nice to like carry and hold.
Yeah,
though.
it's got the ergonomic design. It's really well thought out. It's a shame that they A shame that they only sold them to schools and children. Kind
Did they actually? What?
Yeah, they if everyone was like, yeah, I'd buy an E-Mate, and they were like, no, it's for children. It's
they wanted to,
$1,000
like-
computer for children. You person with money, we don't want your business. This is for
It's
children.
for children, yeah.
And yet it has like a diary and a phone dialer and
With
like,
diary for kids, kind of, right? Kids write
yeah,
diaries.
it's got like a fax capability, and it's
Can you put Chrome on it?
no. In fact, I'm not actually sure that there is a web browser. Certainly has no networking capabiliity.
Oh, real?
out
No
of the
networking
box. So
capability. Yeah.
yeah,
Interesting.
but yeah, no, I think we've pretty much covered it. I mean,
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff in here that we could talk about, but
Um,
maybe we'll save it for another bus factor.
Yep. Fair enough. So the buses have calmed down now. It was pretty crazy for a while there, though, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that was intense,
Yeah.
man. We just sit here and actually look at the buses.
Yeah.
It's quite a different experience to just riding one home.
Yes, it definitely is. Although, yeah, because when you're riding it, I don't even look at the lights. I'm just like, he's doing illegal shit. Whatever, leave him be. I want to get home.
I always think of how ladybirds get in amongst aphids and they like herd them around. I always think
I
of
have
buses.
not seen that.
I always think of buses as being kind of the ladybirds to the traffic aphids.
Yeah, and they just like, just
They
go with
coordinate and they know what's best. They keep the traffic calm and subservient.
Wait, hang on. Do ladybugs eat? Do they eat aphids?
No, they kind of herd them. They treat them like cattle.
Why? What do they do with them?
It's really interesting. I can't remember the rest of this.
because you
but
eat cattle. This is what you. That's
Maybe
why
they
you
do. I'm going to suggest that you look this up on Wikipedia.
I'm gonna do it because that sounds like super crazy.
Yeah, they leak milk out of their knees, that kind of stuff.
Jesus. Hey, you know what I found out recently? Human nipples. They're not like a bottle. Doesn't pour out one little bit. It's more like a shower
Yeah,
head.
that's right. Multiple apertures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Found that out recently.
The human body bores a bottle design.
When I urinate, that's kind of like a bottle.
I don't want to talk about that, Stephen.
Okay. Well, we can end it here for today. I don't know who's going to be on next week, but we'll hopefully have someone as wonderful as the esteemed Michael here. But we'll see. We might be stuck with someone like me. So we'll see what
Alright.
happens.
Thanks, Stephen. It's been fun.
Cool.
This isn't recorded, right?
Yeah, it's 100% recorded. This will stick around for the rest of your life. So you need to link this to your parents, your family,
Fantastic.
everyone. All right. We will catch you next week. Hope everyone has a good day. See ya.